that there would be excellent performance from the PC, and I wasn't really disappointed, but I guess really and truly I want to be testing this at 1080p with like the 1060, the 970, R9 390, RX 480 of course before we have the final verdicts there. Obviously this game is a lot more complex to run than Forza Motorsport 6. That's a 60 FPS title on Xbox One. Horizon is pretty much running at a locked 30 FPS. And obviously running an open world is going to require far more in the way of system resources. It's interesting to note that the recommended spec for this game is actually an i7, which is pretty insane, I guess, for a console level title. But you know, if you want to run this at 60 FPS, you're going to need a decent CPU too, I reckon. And I'm actually running an i7 6700K at 4.6 GHz here, and it's all looking pretty good there. So yeah, Forza Horizon. Now, I've basically been playing through the intro section to the game here because it's kind of like Playground Games are laying out the stall for what you can expect from the game. It's kind of like a sampler of the richness of the environments and just how brilliant the graphics are. But yeah, the end results speak for itself. I'm absolutely blown away by how good this game looks, and it does run really well at 30 FPS as well, so I'm kind of curious to see what kind of GPU hardware we're looking at to get a locked 30 FPS at the same quality settings. So kind of like a huge resolution and settings upgrade over the Xbox One game, and probably more what we can expect from Project Scorpio. We really shouldn't be expecting this game to be running at 4K at 60 FPS on Microsoft's console coming out next year. 6 teraflops just isn't going to be enough to do this, but it should still look pretty good because the motion blur looks fantastic, and as long as you're locked to 30 FPS, that consistency is really important, and obviously the game was designed to run at that frame rate anyway. So yeah, that's kind of something I'm going to be looking at in future to see kind of like potentially how this game could run on Scorpio. But I'm reaching the end of this clip now, so I think I'll leave it there. We'll have more on Forza Horizon 3 soon, where we'll be stacking up the PC version against the Xbox One game, looking at that in depth. And also we'll be doing some performance analysis on the more mainstream GPUs. But do like and subscribe if you found this one useful, and I'll see you next time.
Tell you that Horizon has landed in Australia. Speaking of landings,
Hey everyone, Richard from Digital Foundry here, and finally I am able to show you Forza Horizon 3 running on the PC at ultra settings at 4K resolution, and our aim here is to get the game running at a locked 60 FPS with as few compromises as possible. And to do this, the hardware we're using, obviously Nvidia's Titan X Pascal, which should in theory, well hopefully, give us a kind of preview of what to expect from the GTX 1080 Ti whenever that appears. My guess on that would be early next year. Okay, so yeah, we saw the intro there, and now we're dipping into gameplay, and yeah, it looks very, very nice. And you'll see that they have provided a frame rate counter, which is in the top right hand corner, and we are at 60 FPS. So let's just confirm our settings here. I've turned off the dynamic optimization here to ensure that our settings remain constant, and in the advanced settings here you'll see that everything is at ultra. There's one compromise here. I have disabled MSAA. By default on Ultra it's at 4x, but you can go up to 8x. Now the interesting thing here is that I have actually played the game with 8x MSAA on this hardware setup, and for like 90-95% of the time it is still at 60 FPS, but I want rock solid stability from start to finish. And that means making some compromises here and there. So actually, when I have a bit of time, I'm going to revisit that with the dynamic optimization option there to see what it actually does in terms of stabilizing frame rate. And it's actually this forest section in particular that caused problems. Without the MSAA downgrade, we were looking at 52-53 FPS, and I actually had to not only turn off the MSAA, but I had to overclock the G5X RAM on the Titan X Pascal, and obviously that is a bit